Welcome to the West Ham United Transfer Rumours Show. We've got plenty of centre-backs being linked to the Hammers this evening, which makes sense given that Issa Diop is closing in on his move to Fulham in a deal worth up to 70 million. Now that's not as juicy as it was earlier, is it? Earlier on, it was Diop was joining Fulham for 70 million. Thought, all right, that gives Moyes a bit of wiggle room in the transfer market. He can replace Diop for 70 million. Happy days. But that's not the case. It's 12 million plus 5 million potentially in add-ons. It's just not quite as tasty, is it? Anyway, we're not going to discuss the Diop sale. I've done it in other videos. We're going to be taking a look at the players that are linked to West Ham to replace Issa Diop, because given that in the last 2 or 3 weeks this move has very much been there. Fulham have wanted Diop, Diop's wanted to go to Fulham, but David Moyes has refused to authorise the transfer. So something has changed in order for West Ham to sanction this move. And in my head, there's only two possibilities. Either A, we've got someone lined up. We've wanted to get somebody lined up prior to selling Diop, so we've done it. We know who we want. We're confident we can get him in before the Nottingham Forest game. Or, what I think is more likely, is B. And that is the relationship between Issa Diop and or David Moyes has deteriorated that badly. It's a case of, let's just sell him, get him out of the club, get what money we can, and we move on and we try and get somebody in ASAP. And I hope it's not B, I hope it's A. But I suspect, given that the cryptic messages we've seen from Issa Diop today and last week, I suspect it's B. And it's basically a case of, we've now got a player David Moyes feels he can't use, and we're going to get rid of him and get the money into the club. Because when we hear David Moyes speak about what's left to do in the transfer market, and David Moyes speaks about how there's a lot of work still to be done, we assume, understandably, it's in regards to players we're going to sign, incomings to the club. But it's very possible that David Moyes is referring to outgoings and players that he wishes to move on as well, Diop being one of them. And of course, there's another couple of players being linked with moves away to West Ham in the last 24 hours. We'll get on to them in just a minute. But before we do, let's take a look at the players linked to West Ham, starting with Connor Coady. Now, I know what you're thinking. Hang on a minute, Gio. This was last week. You've missed it. He's off to Everton. I know, but I want to discuss it quickly anyway, because the reasons why I don't want Connor Coady tie into why I may like one or two other centre-backs later on in the video that are also being linked to West Ham, because the reasons I don't want Coady are applicable to every centre-back that we're going to discuss in regards to whether I want them or not. Because I think Coady is a good player. I think he's a great player. That role that he plays in the centre of a back three, that sort of quarterback role playing out from the back, I think he's fantastic at it. In a back three, there's a reason that Wolves are allowing him to move on, and I think there's two reasons. One, they've switched their back four this season, so they've got Kilman and Collins as their main two centre backs, and then you've got Coady and Bowley fighting out to sort of be third choice there. But the other reason is it's World Cup year. Connor Coady needs to be playing football. Ironically, he's moving to get off Wolves' bench to get onto England's bench for the World Cup, but it makes sense. He's got to get into that squad. I think a move to Everton's perfect for him. Frank Lampard's playing a back three. He goes straight in there, especially with the injury to Ben Godfrey as well. He's guaranteed minutes at Goodison Park, playing in the formation he's been playing in at Wolves. It just makes sense. But the reason I don't want him is because, like I said, he's a great player in a back three, but not in a back four. There's a reason Bruno Lage has switched to back four and not selected Connor Coady, and that's because he's got reservations over how Coady would perform. We've seen him play in a back four briefly for Wolves, and he's not as good. He's a bit too slow, I think, to play in that formation. That's why I wouldn't want him at West Ham. I think he'd end up on the bench at West Ham, so he's no better off, really. I would like a centre-back that can play a back three and a back four. Simple as that, because if you do get Connor Coady in, you're sort of restricted to playing that three to get the best out of him. Otherwise, you switch to four and you either don't use him or you put him in, and it's a little bit risky. I was expecting us to play back three yesterday, given that we've seen it plenty in pre-season, and we got told that we were going to be using it more often next season. So I think it was fair to assume we'd perhaps see it against Manchester City. Not the case. I'm glad we're not getting Coady. Just for that reason, I think he's better in a 3 than a 4, and I want to see us play a 4 personally going forward. Another centre-back we've been linked to, we were linked to him for quite a while now actually, Attila Szalai, the Fenerbache and Hungarian centre-back, can play left-back as well, 24 years old. He's been linked to West Ham United between 10 and 15 million, depending on what reports you read, really. Let's just go 12.5 million, go down the middle. I remember looking out for him at the Euros last summer because we were strongly linked to him before the tournament got underway, and I never heard of him. So I was keen to keep an eye on Hungary and Szalai in particular, to get a little bit of a vibe, see if I fancied him at West Ham. And they were in the group of death, weren't they? They were up against France, Germany and Portugal. Obviously they got knocked out, but they had an impressive campaign. And Szalai in particular I thought was absolutely brilliant as well, up against some world-class players too. Did himself no harm, just 23 years of age at that tournament too. But since then, since the Euros and when he rocked up at Wembley at the end of last season when Hungary beat England 4-0, I hadn't seen him kick a ball once. Any opinion I've got based on the player, which I'm impressed by the way, is based on him in a handful of appearances playing for Hungary, and that's it. I've never seen him kick a ball for Fenerbahce, and I probably won't. But I linked to him last summer. The rumour died a death. We signed Kurt Zouma. Weren't linked to him for a while. I completely forgot about him in all honesty. But we got linked to him last week, and I thought, oh, okay, I like the sound of this one. 12, 15 million sounds good. 24 years of age. But the good thing about him is when he plays for Hungary, they play in a back three. He plays on the left of a back three usually. And then when he plays for Fenerbahce, it's in the back four, the left of a centre-back. He's left-footed. So he's versatile. We know he's got plenty of experience in a 3 or a 4. He's got plenty of experience covered left-back as well. It's ticking a lot of the boxes. The age, the price tag, the experience, the positioning. And I found myself really hoping that this transfer rumour is true. I'm a little bit wary. I've only seen him a handful of times, although he's impressed me in every single game. I'm a bit hopeful, maybe more so because of being linked to the likes of Connor Coady and a certain player from Man United that we're going to discuss in a minute. But before we do that, this video is sponsored by the OneFootball app, and it's the best way to keep up to date with all the transfer rumours at your club. You personalise the app, you download it for free, you personalise it for free. And then when you go back into it, you click on your team's badge and it gives you all the news and transfer rumours for your team. It's also the best way to keep up to date with all the scores as they go in around the grounds. Big game in the Championship tonight as West Brom take on Watford. You can find out how that gets on tomorrow morning if you wish. You load up the OneFootball app, you can go into the competitions, go into the Championship, and you can get a match report. You can also get a snapshot view of all the statistics as well for your club as well as anything else, and keep up to date with all the big injury news in the Premier League ahead of the fancy Premier League deadline later on this week, isn't it? You want to keep up to date with all the injury news, and the best thing, it is free. You can download it using the link in the description below. No, please do use that link so they know you've come from Hammers Chat. And once again, a massive thank you to OneFootball for sponsoring this video. Right, let's talk about Thilo Kehrer first of all. The PSG centre-back, 25 years of age. He's only got 1 year left on his contract. There's been no rumoured price tag attached to him. I had a look at various articles. Well, we've been linked to him. We want him. How much are we willing to pay? How much are PSG wanting? Not given. So we're being linked to him anyway. I can't really tell you about his time at PSG. It's very much like Diallo, by the way. Seeing him in the Bundesliga, seeing Kehrer in the Bundesliga for Schalke was a fantastic, I say fantastic, he was a really good centre-back, but he was really young as well. Big money move to PSG. Couldn't tell you how he's got on at PSG. So if you're watching this and you watch French football, let us know in the description below how you think he's got on, because he's certainly picking up enough game time. I had a look to see if he was involved last season. A couple of injuries in there, but towards the end of the season he was a bit part player, but certainly start of the season he was picking up plenty minutes anyway. So let me know how he's got on. But Kehrer, based on what I've seen in the Bundesliga, it's a big yes for me. Reads the game really well, really athletic, strong. Can be suspect when he was in Germany. Could be suspect of running out of defence a little bit abruptly sometimes. Goes on a one-man press at times. If a striker drops deep, he will run after them, which can be good, can be bad. I don't know if he's cut that out at PSG, or if he still does it, or if it might be a benefit playing for the best team in the country and doing that. I'm not too sure. So I'm looking forward to reading your opinions on him. Next up is someone we're all familiar with. Eric Bailly of Manchester United, being linked to him for around about 8 million. No thank you. Absolutely no thank you. He's permanently injured. He's the most injury-prone centre-back in the league. He's got to be. Sure, he's got to be up there in regards to how injured he is all the time. On his day, a really good centre-back, but we have an injury crisis already at centre-back. We don't need another one. we cannot get in somebody that's going to play 2 games and be out for 5. We need somebody in that's going to be available for the majority of the season. Now, of course, every signing has a risk. Nia Figueroa, the perfect example. But you need to lower the risk as much as possible, and I think Eric Bailly would be increasing it as much as possible. So, no thank you. I really don't want to see him at West Ham at all. Now, moving on to Connor Gallagher, someone I would love to see at West Ham. Apparently, we've had a bid rejected for him. We tried to get him on loan, and Chelsea has rejected it, understandably. But I'll tell you what, did you see him when he came on Saturday night against St Park? He came on in the 89th minute. He looked angry. He did not look happy that he was getting on for 1 minute in the game. Would love him at West Ham, it goes without saying. I don't believe Chelsea would loan him out. I struggle to believe that Chelsea would loan him. Surely it's a case of keep him and he's part of the squad next season, or this season rather. Or sell him, cash in and use the money elsewhere. I don't know why a loan move would be beneficial to Chelsea at this point. I think his value, 40 million maybe. You'd have to have a pretty significant season on loan somewhere to enhance that value in the transfer market. So I think I can't see a loan move happening. Would love him at West Ham, permanent or on loan. I think he would fit us brilliantly. I'm not sure he will fit in at Chelsea as much as other people think. I'm a little bit wary. I think he's a little bit too, green maybe. He's just not as elegant in possession as perhaps other players are, and I don't think he's as good in possession, or he's good enough for Chelsea. So I'm not sure how he'll get on there, but at West Ham I think we would I think he'd be a fan's favourite pretty quickly, just like he was at Crystal Palace. We're being linked today to Ross Barkley. I'm in 2 minds. I think it depends on the deal for me. Initially it's no, but then when I think about it, I think, well, would it do us any harm having someone like Barkley as an option in the squad? We need squad depth. We know that. He would certainly be that. He's somebody I could see Chelsea loaning him out because they need to just get him off the book. They're not going to use him. They might as well loan him out and get a couple of million in on the fee, get his wages off the books for a season. Hopefully, he goes to a club like West Ham, performs well, and we want to buy him. But he didn't really do it at Aston Villa, did he? I think I'm more no than yes on this one. But I'm not 100% no, and I don't know why. There's a small part of me that thinks I'd like a punt at this. I think it would be a gamble, but I think it's one of those players, a bit like he who should not be named, that's playing at Nottingham Forest. It's a bit like him. I think if Moyes gets him in, gets his arm round him, I think Moyes can make a good player out of him, actually. He's got the work ethic, we know that. I think he would fit in with West Ham. Just is he good enough or not is the question. But in regards to sort of depth and numbers, I think we could do a lot worse. Unless we sell players, because on Saturday, the report in the paper by Jacob Steinberg, when he was giving like a West Ham update on it, and he stated that Vlasic and Benrahma could be sold, and Nottingham Forest are looking at Said Benrahma. Now, I'm not saying I want to sell Benrahma, just park what we want to happen to Benrahma for a minute. But you have to admit, there would be a slight sort of chuckle if Forest were to spend big on Benrahma, bring him over to the City Ground and take Lingard out the team, and Benrahma would take his place. I mean, there would be a slight, you'd have a little smile that happened, wouldn't it? I wouldn't sell both of them, Vlasic and Benrahma. Now, Vlasic has actually been linked with a loan move away. It was to Torino for quite a while now, but in the last 24 hours, reports are that Napoli's moved ahead of the sort of the queue to get Vlasic, and they want him on loan as well. Now, I hope we tell Napoli to do one, and we have tried to get Zielinski, and they've priced us out of it. I'm hoping we say to Napoli, nah, you can go away. Torino, throw in you come. But again, I wouldn't loan Vlasic out. What's the point of loaning him out? You know, we're trying to get him used to the Premier League, trying to get him to settle into West Ham. He's not going to do that playing over in Italy, is he? Either leave him at the club and hopefully see a better performance from him this season, or sell him. Yes, we probably won't get much of our fee back. We'd have to take the hit and get rid of him. Loaning him out and hoping he does well to boost his price, his value, is risky. We know we got the Felipe Anderson one that wrong. It was embarrassing. I would honestly rather keep Vlasic or sell him. I don't like the idea of loaning him out, if I'm honest with you. In regards to Saïd Benrahma, I mean, he was a bit underwhelming yesterday. A lot of players were. I do think his goals and assists last season make it look like he had a better season than he actually had. When we look at last season, when we did our sort of player review and stuff, and you look at the numbers he produced, Benrahma, I was surprised by it because I thought I didn't feel that in his performances. So I'd be okay with selling him for so long as the price is right, and that goes for both of them. But I wouldn't like to sell both, and I hope that if one leaves, we do get, or should I say both leave, but certainly if one leaves, I do wonder if we will get a replacement. I'm not sure we will. I think Cornet is the replacement for Vlasic or Saïd Benrahma. Obviously they both go, and I hope we do get someone in. Now, just to end the video off, in regards to Maxwel Cornet, delighted we've signed him actually. Absolutely buzzing. I was away to Scotland on Friday when it was all announced and stuff. Now, we knew it was going to happen comfortably for a day or so before that. And the more I thought about it, the more I really like this signing. I'm really looking forward to seeing him. I hope we see him on Sunday against Nottingham Forest. I think he'll be a good player for us. See him, the video of him coming out to applaud the crowd at the game yesterday as well. Looks happy to be a Hammer, and I'm happy he's a Hammer as well. I've got big hopes for him this season actually. I've got more confidence in him being a success than Vlasic or Benrahma. Great addition to the team. I hope we use him in the final third. Certainly initially, I hope we do use him further up the pitch, because he does add that creativity and he adds that goal threat, something we were severely lacking yesterday. I know it was against Manchester City, but we still had the ball. We still had opportunities to try and create something. I was just disappointed by how much attack or threat we carried. I think Cornet carries that. He'll be coming here confident off the back of last season. Produced big numbers in the Burnley team as well. And I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, that's the latest West Ham transfer rumours. Let me know what centre-back you're hoping West Ham sign to replace Issa Diop as he moves to Fulham. If you enjoyed this video, drop a like on it, subscribe to the channel, and catch you tomorrow.